I think what we'll do now is let's focus on a different vector displacement, use of vector displacement here. If we go into this VDM stamp tool, another custom, simple VDM stamp custom tool I made there earlier, same idea, just using the add tool in the Sculpt menu. I have this little knife tool here, and all this is here, it's a vector displacement knife. Again, we have in the default stamp collection there is a regular displacement map that you can use as a little nib on the end of your, I'm going to put a new one here, I'm going to call this one cracks. And what this knife does is it cuts in a little bit and gives a little bit of a an undercut underneath. So I could start to use this to kind of, let's look at our fall off here. Let's start to use this, whoops, we want to continue our spacing in a little bit, make it a little bit more fluid. And we're probably going to want to bring the strength down quite a bit. Bring the size of it down. That's actually really harsh, so we'll bring the strength right down on this guy here. That's really deep as well, so I'm going to go with something really small. Yeah, here we go. And we can start to kind of carve in these cracks here a bit. And with the cracks, it's probably a good idea to do this underneath the vine layer. I'm just going to do it on top right now just to show how the tool works. I'm not going to go too crazy with this because a lot of what I'm going to do here for the detailing we'll get into in the texture discussion here in the next video. But what we can do with this is really start to define some nice kind of bold or even finite cracks around here. And I've done a little bit of this on the head. I've defined some of these kind of carved in crack effects in here as well. So just to kind of give that little bit of extra detail in there. We can really kind of crack up the rocks and everything here. So that's something that you want to spend the time on, kind of going around and kind of cracking up or dividing the rocks up a little bit. You can see I've done a little bit of it on here. But on this boulder, I want some simple loose cracks in there. Again, I'm not going to go too crazy with this because I'm going to cover a lot of that in the texturing there as well. But another tool I want to use here, I'm going to put this right up to my full strength here, and a stamp that I've included with the tutorial here is just a custom little stump or kind of a little nodule of root structure here. And the fall off, we'll use the full fall off on this. And these are just kind of spikes that we've placed, that we can place around here. So let's call this spikes. And actually, I'm not going to use the VDM stamp for this. I'm going to use a different tool in here. I'm going to use the imprint tool. What the imprint tool will do, which is really nice, let's make this a little bit bigger. It's going to place these little stamp stumps in different areas here. So on this guy here, we put a few details in here. It'll drag it out from the center here now, and then we can place that where we want it to be. I'm just going to start to place some of these little spikes in here. A lot of where I want these spikes to be are kind of falling across his head here. So I'm going to build up some of these spikes kind of across his head so that we really break up his silhouette. And put these here. And then what we can do as we place these little stump spikes, you can see we can just kind of give them kind of a gnarly effect with these things. We can tie them all in with that VDM vine tool. For now, I'm just going to kind of randomly place them around a little bit, and we'll tie these in again. As I said, we can tie them in with the vine tool, but we'll kind of put them in areas here where they break up the silhouette of the character a bit. So we'll tie one in here, a big one here with the vine tool, and we can kind of bring it down and tie it in with some of these roots that we've done down here. So maybe one on the side of his leg would be nice. Over here on top of this structure here, we have some space for that. And we just kind of randomly place these guys around, spin it around, some different effects on there. And you can see it's just this kind of nicely little raw kind of gnarled root, much like what we've sculpted up here on the back of our creature here. And we just go around and place these in. Great little filler. All different sizes, right? Put them all different sizes to scale them in. And here we can put this in as kind of a loose little knuckle or something on there. But it's a great way just to kind of fill some of the gaps with some nice detail on here. Let's put a big one on the back there, and you can see as I'm pulling the imprint tool, I'll undo that one there. If I'm right here in my view, I'm right on that plane there, it's going to kind of find or average out that plane. So you can see I'm on an angle here. It's seeing the geometry as that, and it's going to plane it out and average it to that as I place it. And maybe we'll place another one down in here somewhere just to kind of break this up. Put one in the middle here. We're just kind of breaking up the overall silhouette or the geometry of them in here. I should also point out, while we're on this, if I wanted to change this guy here, we have the simple erase tool, right? So it'll erase whatever feature is on that layer. So I'll just erase that one there, and I'm going to go back and imprint a bit of a larger one on there. So maybe we'll place that in here, make it quite big, so it really sticks out, protrudes from his head. We can place a bunch of these gnarly kind of spike things on here to give them more of an effect or more detail as we go. What I'm going to do now is jump into the next video. We're going to start doing some texturing, start defining some of the cracks, some of the little finite details here.